What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. 400 Legend testing continued. This time we're back with an Underwood 200 grain hardcast. These little red pills that Underwood sends out are very popular. They're loaded in all types of calibers, all kinds of grain weights, and they're very effective. They're very punchy. They like to go through things. So today's testing is going to focus on what happens when we go ahead and stuff that into a 400 Legend case, give it a whole bunch more power, therefore a whole bunch more feet per second, and a whole bunch more energy dump. Now, truthfully, I'm not looking for some crazy huge explosive wound channel or entry wound or anything like that out of this. I'm looking for extreme penetration out of this. These things, like I said, are known to be punchy. So weird things do happen when you apply a lot of velocity. That is a flat nose bullet, but that sometimes stabilizes these things to go through gel pretty straight. If you notice, we have 3 blocks set up. A lot of times we have 2. I have high expectations. I'm hoping this can go through 3 blocks. I think it would be pretty cool. We're gonna see. As long as the chronograph behaves today, we're going to see what kind of velocities we get out of this thing right before it impacts this gel. So we'll get a totally accurate number, hopefully. So we've been doing a lot of this type of testing. We have an extensive playlist on taking bullets apart from other calibers, 40 caliber, 10mm, and putting them into the 400 Legend cartridge. We've also done it with muzzleloader bullets, hardcast bullets, CEV solid coppers. It's pretty cool what you can find and load up into the 400 Legend and get it rocking and rolling. The rifle we're going to be using today is an AR style, obviously. It's got a 400 Legend upper that was made by T2 Armory. So they made this as a test, as something to do as just a fun project that's not for sale. Sorry guys, there are companies coming online that are making these barrels that you can start making your own rifles. There's Thompson Center Contender barrels and Encore barrels that are being made by other companies. So you can start putting yourself together a rifle. But for now, this is just, like I said, a testing piece for fun from T2. Thank you, T2. We appreciate it. Now, as of the making of this video right now, there are still not any factory rifles out, like complete rifles. It's September 1st, I think, or September 2nd right now. And 2023, we're right before hunting season, and we don't see them. So, hopefully we do see them, but for now, it's AR time. We're about 30 feet off that chronograph and target. And a lot of people ask what kind of magazines we're using. Right now we're just using 350 Legend magazines. We don't know what they're actually going to come up with once they hopefully actually make rifles for this. And once again, I forgot something. 400 Legend's a little bit loud. .2133, and I'd say we move the block a bit. So there's our entrance. This one's going to be a little interesting. So this is more disruption than I expected. Don't mind the right to left tracks that you see coming in there. That's from a previous test. We have the left to right. That's a pretty good boom right there. I'll go ahead and jump up to the top for a second so you can see it. Pretty significant. But going in here, when we get to about the 12-inch mark, I'd say all that major disruption here is done. And then we go to sliding like these bullets typically do, a smaller track, and they keep going forward. But here's where it gets really interesting. So this bullet stopped at about, I would say, 18.5, maybe 19 inches, and then poked back. So it's really flattened out, and that's kind of not typical for these hardcasts. Like I said, funny things happen when you put a lot of velocity behind certain things, and this is definitely an example. I'll go from the top down again, but you're not going to see a great view. There's the bullet resting in between those 2 tracks. It tracks back to about here, right there, about the 10 or 11, 12-inch mark for that disruption to begin. And then you see it there. Let me get that bullet dug out and see what it looks like. So this thing is a total mushroom now. That's not typical of these usually at lower velocities. You can see that this thing really hit hard and pushed itself. It is a hard cast bullet, but it can only take so much speed. It's still lead. It's not solid copper, it's not solid brass, it's not solid steel. This is still lead, even though it has been hardened up a little bit. So that is why that thing slowed down and did not penetrate into another block. It just had too much frontal surface area to push through that gelatin. The 10% gelatin is actually pretty hard to get through. You just try to stab through it. While I have the knife here, I mean, it's pretty, I'm applying a really good amount of force right there to just get it in there, and it doesn't want to go through. It's a weird medium. And for those that were just curious, there's what a stab looks like in ballistics gel. Now, I didn't get as much velocity behind that bullet as I wanted. I'm going to have to adjust my parameters of my reloads. and then maybe I'll come back and revisit it if I can adjust it. But really, I don't think it's going to change things. More velocity is just going to actually make it mushroom more and quicker. So we do have the energy dump. Never forget, even if we don't have a whole lot of penetration, I mean, it is a good amount of penetration, but it's the energy dump. That's a lot of energy to be throwing at anything that's you're going to be hunting, let's say. So keep in mind that that's ballistics gel. So that's kind of a weird medium. It doesn't represent a thoracic cavity. It's not flesh and it's not bone. It doesn't involve any of that stuff. It's just something that we can compare other bullets to all the time very consistently. But out in the field, that thing might perform completely differently when you smack a deer or whatever you might want to shoot. Hogs, things like that. Truthfully, I think we need a meat target type of test for some of these rounds. And you know who does the meat test? That would actually be very beneficial to this round to do some testing. Water jugs, ballistics gel, it's just not the same as real life. But it's still cool, it still gathers good information, and I hope you guys are getting good information from it. This is going to be a hand loader's cartridge, if we can get brass for it and things like that, but right now we're just going through a bunch of projectiles and seeing what works. So I hope you're enjoying this 400 Legend testing, hope you enjoyed this video, hope to see you at the next video, and until then, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.